I just can't wait to be king. Hey guys, Toshiho Rai here, and today I'm doing my very first Dragon Ball What If scenario video. And for my first video, I really wanted to basically take on a certain scenario that I've been thinking about the last couple of times I've watched Dragon Ball. And I'm talking about specifically the King Piccolo saga, about what if King Piccolo won against Goku in his battle at King Castle. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, so everything leading up to the King Piccolo saga is exactly the same. Goku meets Bulma, they have a few adventures, they stop Emperor Pilaf, come second in a couple of tournaments, and defeat the Red Ribbon Army. All that is exactly the same, but now we get to the King Piccolo saga and Krillin has just been killed by Tambourine. Goku has run off to avenge Krillin, where he meets Yajirobe, and both of them take down Symbol and Tambourine. Piccolo has, of course, sensed the demise of his children, just like he does in the anime. He comes by, he has his first fight with Goku. And that ends exactly the same, leading up to Goku barely being alive, but just able to make it back to Korin's tower with the help of Yajirobe. So, and of course, Goku drinks the sacred water. And in the meantime, Piccolo has managed to kill Chaozu, kill Roshi, and of course, regain his youth and destroy the Eternal Dragon. And has conquered King's Castle. Now, meanwhile Goku of course has talked to Korin and he's tasted the Ultra Divine Water, and while that's happening, Piccolo is making plans to leave King's Castle in order to destroy Sector 28, which of course includes West City, where Bulma's parents live. And just like in the anime, he is interrupted by Tien Shinhan, who tries to imprison King Piccolo in the jar, just like in the anime. And just like in the anime, he fails miserably. It's sad. So, and just as King Piccolo and his minion Drum are about to finish off Tien Shinhan, that is when Goku makes his reappearance. And just like in the anime, he surprises everyone with his increased power when he takes down Drum with only one kick. And then the battle between Goku and the rejuvenated King Piccolo begins. And the fight pretty much goes exactly like it does in the anime, pretty one-sided with Goku winning, dominating most of the battle. And this is where things get a little bit different and hairy. Just like in the anime, Piccolo injures Goku's leg and begins to take control of the fight. They go on, fight for fight. Goku gets a few shots in, and Piccolo uses his big explosive wave and levels the entire city and destroys King's Castle in the process. Not once, but twice manages to evade it. Once by his own skills, and the second time by Tien Shinhan lending a hand. And then, just like in the anime, Piccolo realizes he's about to be defeated. Just like in the anime, he takes Tien Shinhan hostage, holding him by the head. Exactly like in the anime. And he starts, throwing those stones and injuring all of Goku's limbs, leading up to the conclusion of the fight. But this time, King Piccolo actually gets all the limbs. This time, Goku doesn't have one free hand to deal the final blow and defeat him this time. So this time, Goku is defenseless, and Tien Shinhan is also a little worse for wear. He doesn't have the strength to save his friend. So Piccolo, he takes to the sky, he flies up, I'm gonna crush you, you runt! Ugh! And he basically defeats and kills Goku. Pretty dark thing to say, really. So yes, Goku is no more. He has been defeated. Just like Roshi, just like Chaozu, and Piccolo's all happy to celebrate. I killed him! I killed him! The greatest threat to my reign is gone! And of course, he hasn't forgotten about Tien Shinhan. Piccolo then goes down, and he is about to finish off Tien Shinhan. Make an example of Tien Shinhan, just like he was going to do before Goku arrived. And just like that, King Piccolo is looking over Tien. He's about to finish him off. But Tien is just has enough strength to get to his feet and pulls off a solar flare. He hits King Piccolo with a solar flare, blinding him. That gives Tien Shinhan enough time to quickly grab Goku's body and get the hell out of there. So there he is. He is running. He's not able to get very far because of his weakened condition, but that is when Yajirobe pulls up, and they both get into Tien carrying Goku's body. They get into the Yajirobe's car and they speed away. During which they encounter Bulma, Yamcha, and Launch, who have landed. They're getting ready to join the fight. But Tien and Yajirobe have basically just went, nah, get on that plane, get out of here. Goku has been defeated. We're better off getting out of here. So Yamcha, with a bit of resistance, ultimately agrees, and they go back to Kame House. And just like King Piccolo promised, he goes off to Sector 28 and completely obliterates it. Unfortunately for Bulma's parents, they don't get out in time. You know, all that packing and his mum, Bulma's mum, obsessing over the cats and plants. It's sad. So Bulma's pretty upset, and not to mention they're also mourning the loss of Goku, because now they know for sure that Goku is actually dead. So, within the next few months, Tien and Yamcha are at Kami's house resting and recuperating, while Piccolo is beginning his reign of terror again, recreating the legion he had back when he was opposed by Master Muay Thai Ito and his students, which of course, young Master Crane and young Master Roshi. So he's basically rebuilt his legion, and the entire human race is running away in terror at this point. And King Piccolo has built his own little palace right where King's Castle used to stand. Of course, it is called Piccolo's Tower. This is how I designed it, how I reckon it might have looked like. I reckon that looks pretty cool. Anyway, so the 2 months have now finished. Tien and Yamcha have now healed, and they make Yajirobe take him to Korin's tower, where they then encounter the cat, and they go through the training to get the sacred water, which of course increases their strength exponentially. Yajirobe of course filled him in on the ultra divine water, but when Tien asked about it, Korin basically said it wasn't a good idea, because you got to keep in mind, Yamcha and Tien are the only warriors left who could pose a threat to King Piccolo. He's not going to risk their lives making them take the ultra divine water. It worked on Goku, but Korin is well aware that Goku was in no way an ordinary kid. He was way beyond human limitations, Goku. Of course, being what Goku actually is, that's not surprising. But considering that everyone else who has ever tasted it, the Ultra Divine Water, has ended up dead, there's no way Korin is going to risk their lives at this point. So, Tien's a bit irritated at this, and they leave the tower, where Yamcha and Tien basically continue their training for another year. For another couple of years, they continue their training. They realize if they're going to catch up to Piccolo, they're going to need at least a couple of years of training. And with them training together at full potential, they might just build up enough strength even quicker. It might only take them a year between the two of them. But meanwhile, Piccolo isn't just sitting there destroying cities. He is well aware Tien Shinhan is still out there, and he's got his legions searching for him. So occasionally Yamcha and Tien may encounter Piccolo's minions and have a bit of a fight, which is also good for their training at this point. But King Piccolo is also training. Yes, King Piccolo is training. Keep in mind that when Pilaf released him, King Piccolo went straight into revenge and conquer the Earth mode. He didn't really have time to really train and learn how to reverse the evil containment wave. Hence is why he feared it so much. He was in a hurry to reconquer the world and get his revenge. But this time, with Goku out of the way, who was by far the most menacing threat that King Piccolo has ever faced, he doesn't want to be opposed ever again. So to make sure that doesn't happen, he is training. He may even figure out how to reverse the evil containment wave should Tien Shinhan come knocking on his door. So while that's all going on, 2 years have passed. Piccolo's destroyed a couple more sectors since then, being Piccolo Day. And Tien Shinhan and Yamcha have completed their training. But before they could face King Piccolo, they are approached by another being who has fallen from the heavens before them. Of course, this is Kami, the guardian of Earth. Now, Yamcha and Tien straight away go to attack Kami, mistaking him for King Piccolo. But Kami basically just knocks him out of the way with his energy, and basically talks to him. And as they're talking, Yamcha and Tien begin to realize that hang on, this isn't King Piccolo. King Piccolo ain't that friendly. And that he tells them about the whole King Piccolo and I were one being and all that, and that Kami has come to assist them in bringing down King Piccolo. You might be asking, what's Launch, Oolong, Bulma, and Pua doing in the middle of this? It's been 2 years since we last talked about them, and let me assure you, they actually have a pretty big role in this too. Bulma has somewhat changed since the death of her parents. Yes, when Piccolo destroyed West City, Bulma's parents didn't make it out. So Bulma has lost Krillin, Roshi, and even her sweet friend that she met in the jungle, talking about Goku. And now she's pretty much now a woman on a mission. So in the 2 years, Bulma has built these new blaster rifles that are designed and actually powerful enough to do damage to Piccolo's minions. But Ryan, ray guns don't affect Dragon Ball Z characters. Oh, but contraire, let's keep in mind that in Resurrection of F, when Goku's guard was down and Frieza's goon easily got a shot in at Goku with a ray gun and nearly killed Goku, who's the strongest character in the original anime, in the canon. So you take that in mind. Yes, it's possible for Bulma to build laser blasters that can actually do damage to these monsters. And what Bulma, Launch, and the others are doing, they've been going around gathering up any survivors they can from cities and evacuating them, and evacuating them basically right under Piccolo's nose. Launch is all for it. She's hoping to blast a few monsters. Oolong's, being the typical coward that he usually is, but still goes, but under protest. And Bulma's not above playing the piggy card. So they're going around evacuating these people. And what they do, they actually evacuate these people using dino caps. When Bulma arrives at these wrecked cities and looks for survivors, she has them all board her plane, and then she shrinks the plane down into a dino cap. What? How does that work? That can't happen, can it? Well, actually it can. Keep in mind that when Krillin and Roshi and Chaozu all died, Bulma built those cryogenic freezing chambers to preserve her dead friends. So when they brought them back to life, they wouldn't be brought back as, rotting, decaying corpses. That's what those things were built for. And where did she store those? She stored those in dino caps. So it goes to assume that if you can shrink someone inside one of those freezing chambers into a dino cap, I don't see any reason why that wouldn't work if you brought a bunch of survivors onto a capsule plane and then shrink it down into a dino cap and then walk out of the city, completely avoiding the monsters. Now one day they go to pull this in a city, and all is well. They pretty much manage to get the survivors into the plane and shrink it down dino cap, no problem. But just before they're about to leave, they see a couple of monsters heading towards them, and with them on their guard, there's probably a good chance the blaster's not going to work on them. So they need to think of something fast, and that's where Oolong has this hilarious idea of transforming into King Piccolo. Yes, he actually transforms into King Piccolo, tries to imitate the king, and tells these monsters he's interrogating themselves. I am King Piccolo. I am going to interrogate these prisoners myself. Get on it. Get on with what you're doing before I destroy you. Ha 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 ha. Which is completely beyond hilarious. Now, these monsters are not stupid. They're not buying this for a second. So to make sure, they actually try to communicate with this King Piccolo telepathically. Because keep in mind, King Piccolo is telepathically linked to all his children. So that, of course, does not work. And just when they're about to attack the imposter King Piccolo, aka Oolong, Bulma and Launch quickly take out the blasters, and they blast and destroy the two monsters and get the hell out of Dodge. King Piccolo, of course, who has just finished training for the day, has sensed the downfall of his two minions and immediately orders his entire legion to search the area, just in case that his children's assailants was in fact Tien Shinhan. Because like I said in the previous part, King Piccolo is still wanting to find Tien Shinhan, get his revenge on him, because Tien Shinhan, as far as King Piccolo knows, is the last remaining threat. And so meanwhile, while they're off doing that, King Piccolo is relatively unguarded. So Tien, Yamcha, along with Kami, are able to slip into the city where Piccolo's tower stands relatively easy and get inside. This is where they encounter King Piccolo and the showdown begins. There are a few of Piccolo's monsters left who are like, basically their job's to protect King Piccolo, so they charge right on in, and Tien and Yamcha are fighting them off while Kami and King Piccolo are having a big ass battle. Very similar to what they have in the anime in the World Martial Arts Tournament. Difference being, of course, this is the original King Piccolo. There's no Piccolo Jr. because King Piccolo was never defeated by Goku 2 years ago at King's Castle. So it's a pretty amazing fight, epic fight. Tien and Yamcha pretty much are more than a match for these few minions King Piccolo has with him. But it's beginning to still turn in King Piccolo's favour, but he's still just a bit stronger than Kami. He's about as strong as he's just as strong as Piccolo Jr. was in the World Martial Arts Tournament. So the fight's pretty much the same, except Kami's not disguised as hero. And so, just like in the anime, Kami attempts the evil containment way on King Piccolo. It looks like it's gonna work, but then King Piccolo shocks everyone when he suddenly reverses the evil containment wave. Because keep in mind that through the 2 years that Tien Shin and Yamcha have been training, so has King Piccolo, and he's seen the evil containment wave enough times that he can easily learn to reverse it. And so he surprises everyone by reversing it, and he traps Kami into the jar. And at this point, Yamcha and Tien, they have no chance of beating Piccolo, even if they fight him together. They couldn't even jump Kami at the beginning of this what if. So they regroup together, and together they unleash a combined ki blast and basically escape. And King Piccolo, of course, he's recalling his legion, searching for Bulma and Launch to go after Tien and Yamcha. This is their chance to get rid of them, but that also ends up a fail. They are long gone by the time King Piccolo's legions even get to the area. They're just long gone. So they decide they're gonna rendezvous with Launch and Bulma and the others and assist them in the survival of the human race, getting all the survivors in they can and start up a resistance movement. And that's pretty much how things are going to go within the next 5 years. So they found Chi-Chi and the Ox King along the way, and they're pretty much trying to set up a force to try and take on King Piccolo once and for all. But let's face it, at this point they don't stand a chance if they try and fight him. So the best thing to do right now is just make sure the human race is gonna survive, and hopefully King Piccolo dies off someday. So 5 years have then gone by, and this is when planet Earth gets a new visitor, a new arrival. Guess who? It is the older brother of Kakarot, Raditz. Yep, now Raditz comes to Earth. At the exact same time, he arrives in the original anime. Except when he gets out, there's pretty much complete destruction everywhere. And I think no way Tien and Yamcha could best Piccolo and his hundreds of thousands of minions. So naturally they had to leave, unfortunately. And they've basically decided to regroup with Bulma and Launch and assist with their efforts in evacuating the cities before the yearly annual Piccolo Day, saving as much people as they can and forming a resistance movement. So they can then overthrow King Piccolo and send him back from whence he came. And during one of their visits, they actually run into Sinnoh. In case you don't remember who Sinnoh is, she was in Dragon Ball during the Red Ribbon Army saga during Muscle Tower. The little redhead girl Goku befriends and who Ada basically lives with, or yeah, I can't remember what's going on there. Anyway, they manage to rescue her from King Piccolo and his minions, though not without a big sacrifice. Yes, android number 8, or Ada, chose to battle with Piccolo and his minions so Sano would have the chance to get away. And here's a bit of a comic I did, so you get the feel of what I was picturing. But yeah, you can clearly see what I was going for with the comic. And it's sort of a tribute to Dragon Ball: The Journey Begins. It's a Dragon Ball movie. Because in that movie we got to see what actually android number 8's actually capable of, you know, the jetpacks and how powerful he is. So I thought it was pretty cool to sort of draw that in the comic and really bring that out, because that was a really awesome movie. And luckily for Sano, she was rescued by Bulma and her resistance group. Now, thanks to Yamcha and Tien's now helping the resistance movement and finding more survivors, they managed to find the Ox King and Chi-Chi as well. And of course, King Piccolo is still doing his thing, destroying everything, rebuilding everything in his image, and you know, really just being not a very nice overlord at all. No, not at all. But then something happens. Planet Earth is about to get a new visitor. It is Raditz. Raditz has come to Earth, and he is looking for his kid brother. And it's kind of funny, because when he first arrives and he sees all this destruction, he actually thinks his brother did this. He's like, "Ah, good job, Kakarot. You've done the Saiyan race proud." But then his scouter goes off, and he's blipping all these power levels around him. Those are, of course, King Piccolo's minions, his little monster guys. You know, we saw them just before. Wait just a minute! They can't all be Kakarot! No, indeed they're not Raditz. And so, flying around and having a bit of an investigation, he runs into a couple of these monsters who basically pick a fight with Raditz right off the get-go, which was a big mistake for them, because compared to them, Raditz is a complete beast compared to them. He does away with them like they're nothing. Ha! Puny power levels, barely even the level of 100. Ha! Don't make me laugh. And of course, King Piccolo detects the death of his children. What is this I'm sensing? I haven't sensed a power like this. Whatever that was, it can't be human. Because remember, King Piccolo is telepathically linked to his children. Just no different than how he's telepathically linked to Kami, being Kami's evil part. So, once again, King Piccolo sends his monsters off to investigate this new arrival. But by the time they get there, Raditz is long gone, because he's detected 2 more power levels who are significantly stronger than any of these creatures. And as he flies along, he comes to a city that's completely in rubble. This would be the remains of West City. And as he's flying over the Capsule Corp building, he spots where the two power levels are coming from. He spots Tien and Yamcha, who are just out and about in the safe zone doing a bit of training. Getting a bit of their training in. And these power levels are a bit surprising for Raditz. You know, this is what he'd expect his brother to have. And yes, Tien and Yamcha definitely sense Raditz's approach, and they try to hide from him a little bit in the rubble. But with Raditz's scouter, nah, it's just not happening. I know you two are down there. If you don't come out, I will level the entire city. And that is enough to get Tien and Yamcha coming out. Now, of course, Tien and Yamcha can tell right away this guy is possibly bad news, and they can sense that he is freakishly strong. How he compares to King Piccolo, they're not sure, but he is definitely freakishly strong. But then, as Raditz began, I am looking for someone. He should be about my height by now, has a tail like mine, answers to the name Kakarot. Have you seen him? Yamcha's like, no, I don't know any Kakarot, and I suggest you beat it, pal, before there's trouble. You know, Yamcha trying to sound tough. But then, Yamcha and Tien both spot something. They spot Raditz's tail. And they're like, oh, you have a tail! Ah, so you do know who I'm looking for. And Yamcha's just like, mutters the name, Goku? Goku? What's a Goku? Is that something to eat or something? No, we had a friend. His name was Goku. He had a tail. This, of course, instantly infuriates Raditz. His name is Kakarot. He is my brother. Where is he? Bring him to me at once. Yamcha and Tien are just lost for words. They are speechless. Goku has a brother? Where has this guy been all this time? But then comes the real big bitter pill to swallow. Well, not sure how to tell you this, but Goku died almost 10 years ago. He battled with King Piccolo, the evil ruler who has taken over our planet. He fought violently, but failed. Failed? Kakarot's a Saiyan warrior! If he failed, he is a disgrace to the Saiyan race. And of course that gets Yamcha and Tien pretty teed off really quickly. Oh, come on, you're not really gonna try fight me, are you? I thought we were getting on quite nicely. And a bit of a fight breaks out, and Raditz pretty much knocks them both out just like that. Well, don't you worry, little humans. I am going to fight this King Piccolo for you. He will pay for what he did to my brother. Now, this isn't simply just out of the kindness of Raditz's heart. No. Not because he actually has real caring feelings towards his little brother. No, this is more of a, we must wipe this disgrace from the family name. That's more or less what Raditz is going through at this point. So he's now back up in the air. He's got his little scouter on, beep, 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 looking for the highest power level that's on this planet, which is obviously King Piccolo, and he detects him. So yes, he detects King Piccolo, but then he detects a slight problem. The power level is respectable. It's about 400 or 500, something like that. Plus, he is surrounded by other creatures who have power levels of up to 200, 220, and a bunch of the other I guess you could say King Piccolo's infantry. So, this might not be good for Raditz. Humans? And he goes back down to the knocked out bodies of Tien and Yamcha, and he's just humorously trying to slap him away. Humans, might need your help here. And that is when the resistance regime basically surround Raditz, and Raditz has to give them the awkward explanation, which is quite humorous. And well, since they pretty much believe that Yamcha and Tien pretty much started the fight, they pretty much let Raditz off with a warning and made him their guest. Of course, they're watching him with their key blasters heavily armed. Because remember those guns and stuff that Bulma had? You might have seen them in the images there and in the previous What Ifs. Those are powered by key energy. And as a bit of a tribute to Moscow X's What If Bulma Trained Like Goku, that really awesome battle suit, I reckon to make this a bit more fun, we're going to give Bulma that exact same battle suit right now. Now, ultimately, after Tien and Yamcha are done licking their wounds, they all decide the entire resistance will all work together with Raditz to take down their common enemy, King Piccolo. Which Raditz is kind of enjoying. He's enjoying being the top dog, because he is by far the strongest one there. And with him leading the charge, charge, let's go get him! And they are just ploughing through King Piccolo's enemy infantry and all his little monsters, and the battle is quite fierce. Buildings that are already getting destroyed being all messed up. It's just an epic spectacle. And pretty much then we get to the point where King Piccolo and Raditz are face to face. King Piccolo can tell by sensing his energy, so you're the one who's been killing my children. Why don't you join me? I can tell there is a darkness within you. Huh, look at you! You're one of those Namekians, aren't you? Just a green man. Just a typical green man. Sorry, but that ship has sailed the moment you kill my brother. And a big battle just breaks out. Now, when the battle started, the battle was pretty much even for a good while. Key blasts being blown everywhere. Piccolo's tower just completely ending up in rubble. There's a big hole in the ceiling. And but then Raditz began turning the tables on him. You know, Raditz is a more cautious fighter, and he's significantly more powerful. But Piccolo is quite cunning, so that's why the battle's sort of more or less on an even playing field. But Raditz, the fact that Raditz is just too powerful is beginning to overwhelm King Piccolo. And it actually seemed that King Piccolo would lose right then and there, but King Piccolo, out of some sort of crazy instinct, grabs a hold of Raditz's tail. And as we know from the first few episodes of Dragon Ball Z, Raditz never trained himself to be immune to people grabbing his tail. So Raditz is going down. He's in agony. Please let me go. I'll forget about my brother. I'll just get in my ship and leave. See, he tries to do that, but that is not working. That is not working because King Piccolo is a heartless killer. That is not going to work. King Piccolo will take every advantage he's got. So King Piccolo, he's got his arm out. He's charging up a really big energy blast. Say hello to your monkey brother. But before he could fire off, something happens. Raditz manages to look at this puddle, because it had been raining. It had been raining through the big hole that they left in the roof, and it's left a puddle. And in that reflection is a full moon. Is a full moon. And at that moment, Bulma comes racing in a super key battle suit and manages to knock King Piccolo out of the way. And that gives Raditz enough time, enough power to look up completely at the full moon, and he begins transforming into a great ape. And of course, Bulma and Yamcha know exactly what's going on, and they're instructing everyone to get out. Even Raditz, before he's completely taken over as the giant ape, he's just going, "Run!" And he transforms completely into the great ape. King Piccolo is terrified, but he can't do anything about it. There's nowhere for him to go. And just like that, Raditz fires up a powerful energy beam from his mouth and obliterates King Piccolo. King Piccolo is dead. And as for his other minions, they're running away. They're running scared. And Raditz is just thrashing them. He's thrashing all the Piccolo's minions he can get his hands on, while the rest just run away and leave. The battle is won. But unfortunately, because King Piccolo is dead, that means Kami is dead too. So there's no one to restore the Dragon Balls to undo the damage King Piccolo has done. Mind you, I'm pretty sure it's too late for them to wish back Krillin, Roshi, Goku, and Chaozu back, due to the fact that when the dragon restores life to people, it's got to be within that year time frame. Of course, if I'm actually wrong there, let me know in the description. If it turns out I'm actually wrong there, we might be able to squeeze in a part 4. Might not have to be the conclusion. So after that, Raditz sort of changes back, and at that moment, he turns off his scouter. He did hear a bit about the Dragon Balls from his discussions with the Resistance, so he realizes, yeah, he kind of screwed up by actually killing King Piccolo, but he actually has a moment of sentimental weakness. After spending time with some of these humans, like, so this is what these Earthlings are actually like. So, he hands Bulma these coordinates. These coordinates are for planet Namek. Because Piccolo realizes King Piccolo was a Namekian. These Dragon Balls sound like those magical wish orb things that were rumoured about in the Freezer Force from planet Namek. So he hands them these coordinates and tells them, maybe you could use the Namek's Dragon Balls. Because remember, Raditz was a part of Vegeta and Nappa's group. They had access to a lot of the information. Raditz saw everything. And Vegeta wasn't the kind to hold out on him. So with that, he basically goes back to his ship, takes his leave to report back to Vegeta. Which he basically just says, nah, my brother is dead, and Earth is just not worth conquering. They wouldn't even make a good slavery force for the Freezer Force. And that is basically the conclusion of this story.